this video is going to be all about my bit driver kit in my EDC pouch. So I've got this tool roll that I keep in my little bag, which is always with me as soon as I get out of the house, basically. And up to now, I've used this Victorinox bit driver kit, which I thought was a brilliant thing. You know, it's an L-shaped bit driver handle with the bit storage in a little plastic thing that sits inside that L shape. Super lightweight, very compact, and a good, you know, can store quite a few bits in there. The reality, though, is even though it's got the sort of potential to use the longer end of the L-shaped handle for increased torque, whenever you really try and do something, especially with a normal screwdriver, you have to push in quite hard to keep a screwdriver head in place if you're applying a lot of torque. So the leverage is kind of irrelevant if you can't push in hard enough to hold it in place. It's less of an issue with something like a hex key bit, but with the normal screwdriver, you really need to be able to push in at the same time as applying torque. And really, the standard screwdriver handle is about as good as it gets for that, I think. You know, I've tried the T-shaped ones. I just don't get on with that, even though in principle that would allow you to push in and turn at the same time. It just doesn't seem as natural as a normal original screwdriver handle. So for this, I really wanted to come up with a set of tools that would work in a way that was, you know, good enough to replace normal tools. This kit, I wanted to become so good that I wouldn't need to go to my garage to get the proper tool for any of these things. So I wanted to cover everything right the way through, from tiny precision bits through to heavy duty Phillips size 2, you know, with a real sized, full-sized handle that I could use, you know, on a proper stuck head that needed a lot of power to get out, for example. So I kept coming back to this idea that we need separate tools, and this is, you know, something that I've explored quite a lot on this channel. It's quite interesting, the role of sort of counterpart devices improving on convergence devices. We're sold these convergence devices all the time in that, you know, they're sort of, you know, more convenient and so on, and they're usually more expensive, and they're usually a compromise on using the real counterpart tools themselves. So I just sort of thought, actually, what's the best way of looking at this? So starting with Allen keys, I figured actually the best thing to do is just take normal Allen keys. These are excellent tools for what they set out to do. You know, the length of the long end is kind of proportional to the size of the hex bit on them themselves. They're very lightweight, and they kind of just chuck in this bag and take up no space whatsoever. So there's really no need to overthink this. I'm just going to chuck them in this pouch. And that's my 3, 4, 5, and 6 mil hex key Allen keys. And I literally just grabbed the real tools out of my garage for this. And on the longer end, they've got the rounded version, which allows you to use these at an angle, which is excellent. And of course, you can use them the other way around to get access to sort of, you know, distant concealed things. And so basically with these Allen keys, I can, you know, pretty much take apart a whole bike really easily in a way that I just wouldn't be able to do with that Victorinox bit kit, because the access would be so compromised and so on. So that's all of those sorted. And that means now we don't need to be worrying about carrying bits in that size range for the hex keys. So then the next part of the equation is the precision bits. So right the way down to something as small as for a glasses screwdriver, you know, tiny torque screws for taking apart electronic items, even the little 3 blade tiny thing I came across the other day. I was taking apart a Joy-Con, and I was amazed to see that this new tool that I've just got, which I'll look at in a second, had this in there. And I thought that was going to be, you know, like, I've never seen one of these before, actually. And I was thrilled to see that there was a bit in there that worked to take apart the Joy-Con. So for that, we just need a precision bit driver, basically. And I think there's really only one choice if you're looking at something like this, and this has come up on a number of channels now, including the Max Level EDC channel, which is where I first heard about this. Brilliant channel, do check his channel out. And it's by Toto, and I just got this straight off AliExpress. Everything in this video, by the way, is super affordable. I'm not interested in all these fancy titanium things anymore. I'm kind of going through a bit of a frugal transition in my life as well at the moment, and so part of this is just trying to make things. This is just, everything is expensive, you know, these days, and with everything, all the expensive things being given to all the YouTubers for free, it kind of looks like everybody's just buying this stuff all the time. But I think a lot of, you know, real life decisions are made based on price. And so for this, I wanted to make sure that everything in this kit was super affordable as well. So, and this is no exception. It's about 14 or 15 pounds. I think it's probably, you know, you might think it's quite expensive for a little precision bit driver, but actually it's worth every penny. The value for money is really good here. I think this is an incredible piece of kit. really just everything you need. Excellent collection of bits, tiny double-ended 4mm bits. Everything's magnetic, little handle in the back which is on bearing, so that it acts as a kind of, you can put it into your hand and spin it with your fingers, which is essential for a precision driver, where the goal is dead even accurate central force when you're using it, and the ability to sort of turn it without sending the screw pinging off somewhere. So that was a really important thing for the precision bit driver, and it just nails the whole thing basically. It works incredibly well, very light, very small. So that covers the hex keys that are smaller than my 3mm real full-sized Allen key. It goes right the way down to little tiny Allen keys, and then of course tiny screwdrivers and Phillips and Torx of course as well. So just everything I need for full kind of electronic repairs, it's always in this kit, and we'll get more onto why that's important in a second as well. So then we're on to this full-size screwdriver requirement. So for the times you've got a big proper size screwdriver, a Phillips size 2 or a flathead, and it's a big screw and it needs a lot of torque, and you want to be able to push in hard at the same time to stop it sort of rotating in the head. So there's just no substitute for a full-sized bit driver handle here. So I was looking for something that basically was just a full-sized bit driver that would have a double-ended, really long shank. That's the other useful thing. Obviously, full-size screwdriver, you've got the reach of that full-sized shank in there as well. So I wanted to kind of recreate that, but obviously needing to fit in my pouch, I knew it needed to be in two parts. So the handle and the sort of the shank ideally could be double-ended, and I didn't want to have a little bit in an extension either. I just wanted it, in case the screw is kind of in a small hole and you just get right in. So this, again, on AliExpress, it's literally a couple of pounds, so it's just no money at all, a few dollars. And it's perfect. The bit is solid in there, it doesn't rattle about on the handle. It's obviously a really big handle, and interestingly, it just fits nicely in this tool roll pouch, and if you position it in the right kind of place, you can fold it so that it's on the edge rather than making it sort of fatter as you roll it. It doesn't really add much bulk, which is so surprising because it's such a chunky handle. So this is just used for the big flathead and the big Phillips, basically. I've actually got 2 of the 3 bits that it comes with that I keep in this pouch. So I think it's the Phillips size 1 and the Phillips size 2, and then the smaller and larger flatheads on the other ends of those. So again, there's no weight to it really. It's very lightweight. It's obviously quite bulky, but it does fit. So with these 3 kind of rolls taken care of, and it all goes in here. It has increased the bulk of the pouch a little bit, but the transition from that Victorinox bit kit to this complete range right the way through, from tiny glasses screwdrivers to a full-size screwdriver here that is always in my pouch, is just amazing. So going back to this idea of knowing where everything is, and this pouch, obviously I know all the time, it's just my bag, it's by the door all the time. I will go to this to find these tools. I don't need to go into a drawer or to the garage to find these tools anymore. They're just normal, good enough tools that I would always want to use, and that's a brilliant thing. It's no compromise, because I want it to be portable and always with me. There's no compromise on that, and that's absolutely brilliant.